Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I've made some changes to it since the last upload. So basically I changed the name from Simple Copy to the Great Singapore Homelab, mainly because I wanted to make sure the discoverability is there, because when I try to find my own channel name, only the coffees come up. So this is the main reason I changed it. And let's get into today's topic of setting up a secure home network in Singapore. The main topic here today is how I set up my minimalist home network that is family approved, fast-speed fiber internet with persistent Homelab services, and a totally segmented network within Proxmox cluster to have a safe environment to run malware analysis and reverse engineering labs. I'll mainly be documenting the configuration of the VLANs segmentation from Unifi Cloud Gateway Fiber and tagging them via the managed switch to be used on the Proxmox cluster. Because it took a while for me to figure out, and I could not find such documentation anywhere online. There is only one that was done by Alex Kretschmer from Tailscale. While this is great to have a safe sandbox environment for home labbers to play around with the network, the way Alex's setup was done could only allow that pocket of network on one physical Proxmox node at a single time. If you have any other VMs on other nodes, they won't be able to reach the tagged OpnSense network. So it didn't satisfy my need of having a distributed network across all the nodes in the cluster. Thus, this is the network diagram, and basically my labor of love, spending kind of like some sleepless nights trying to fix whatever's broken on the firewall level, switch level, and the Proxmox level. So here it is. I'm not gonna spend too much time on this, but the main thing that I just like to kind of like point out in here is I can directly configure the traffic flow from Unifi Policy Engine. The tagged VLANs can be used across all the nodes within the Proxmox cluster. This is the main and biggest benefit that I wanted to have. I can easily create more VLANs in that aspect. So if you're familiar with Singapore's public housing flats, the space we get is rather small to have a full-blown rack like what most of the Reddit r/Homelab users have in their homes. So this is the public. So this is kind of like the limitation that we'll have to work with in Singapore. The public houses in Singapore comes with a dedicated cabinet for electrical distribution board boxes called DB boxes, which is ideal to have electronic stuffs in there. So this is my take of a Homelab in a way. I just put all my mini Proxmox cluster and the firewall and the switch in there. So that includes of three main hardware stuffs: Unifi Cloud Gateway Fiber, 2.5 gigabits Horaco managed switch for networking, the Lenovo M720Q mini PCs, and U7 Pro XG for the home Wi-Fi. So that's like the main hardware I use. I will probably link like an AliExpress referral link there. Please do buy through that if you want to have a similar setup. That also helps the channel out in a way. You don't need to pay anything extra at all. So let's kind of get into the main topic of the day. You first need to configure the VLANs on the Unifi Cloud Gateway Fiber. I created two VLANs in this case: VLAN 10 for Homelab and persistent services, VLAN 99 for the reversing labs. The creation of VLANs are fairly straightforward on UCG Fiber. I keep a lot of the default settings for the Homelab VLAN. For the reversing VLAN, I basically unchecked this auto scale network and make sure the usable IPs are at a minimum. And I checked isolate network and then allow internet access temporarily. So if you do want to if something went wrong and you wanted to stop all the internet access to it, this is where you can come and uncheck this, and all of your network connectivity will be gone. So there's two ways to go about this. You can either uncheck the allow internet access here, or you can create like a firewall rule in Unifi policy engine to block internet access there. So that's kind of the main thing I wanted to touch on. The VLAN configuration on the UCG fiber is, if you kind of look at the earlier network diagram, you can see that the first port on UCG fiber is physically connected to Oracle switch port 1 with a trunked VLAN. The trunk VLAN configuration on UCG fiber could get a little confusing. Hence, this is the part that's most important to configure. The way I achieve this is by doing the following. Homelab VLAN, which is the 10, is configured as native VLAN on the port. There are no VLAN tagging and allow all VLANs to pass through, hence trunking all the VLANs on the port itself. So if you look at the configuration here, I push this as the management VLAN. Then the native VLAN in this case will be 10, and you gotta allow all the other VLANs to pass through this port. So if you refer back to the first network diagram, so this first port has the native VLAN of 10 with all the trunk ports of from basically 1 to 4094. I did the same for the second port, but it's just currently unplugged right now on the switch and the UCG fiber. So that's why in the switch interface, you will probably see that later in the video, you will probably see that the second part is gone. For the Oracle switch, okay, let's kind of get into it. The very first thing that you will probably need to do is to assign a proper static IP that falls within the VLAN. So in my case, I put on VLAN 10, which is within the 10.0/24 network, and basically I assigned it as 10.2. This will allow you to reach the switch's web UI for administration. The most important thing in the first setup is to ensure that you've changed your default admin password. How you can go about doing that, I'll show you here right now. So this is the user account. You need to make sure that you've switched your password here. And as for the static IP assignment, make sure the DHCP setting is disabled. Assign a static IP, net mask, and of course gateway is where the UCG fiber is, and click on apply. So that's the switch interface. And of course you'll see that the second port is physically not linked right now. So let's get into the main configuration side of things. So on the switch configuration side, you first need to untag the ports that the router or the firewall are physically connected to, basically which is the VLAN 1, and tag them as VLAN 10 instead. In my case, I basically untag ports 1 and 2, which are these two. Oh yeah, of course, for VLAN 10 and 99 on all the ports, you will be physically connecting to the Proxmox nodes too. So these are kind of like the screenshots how I configured it. For VLAN 10, 1 and 2 is tagged. For VLAN 99, I tagged from 1 to 5. The port 3, 4, and 5 is physically connected to all of my Proxmox nodes from the switch. So that's why I tag both VLAN 10 and 99 for port 1 to 5. And of course, once you've finished configuring that, make sure you've saved that configuration. The way you can do that is you can go to Tools, Save Configuration. Tools, Save Configuration here. So what happens is when you do a power cycle on the switch, all of these configurations are persistent on the switch itself. That's the important one. Now that the switch part is done, the VLAN tagging on the Proxmox Proxmox side of things. So you basically, if you want to, by default, Proxmox Management VLAN, well, Management Linux Bridge does not have VLAN-aware configured. So if I go to Proxmox, one of the nodes here, and go to the Linux Bridge, this is unchecked by default. So you gotta make sure you check that on all of the nodes within the cluster. So all of these nodes, make sure you check this on the VMBR0, the Linux Bridge. And that way you should be able to tag the virtual machines for basically, putting them in the same VLAN for traffic flow. So for the next part, this is where I'll go and do the demo of pinging between two machines. I'm going to pause the video here for a bit. All right, I'm back, and right now I have two consoles open to two different machines on the two different nodes. So this machine that you're seeing here is on PO node, and another machine here is on SU node, and they are all on VLAN 10 at the moment with the 10.0/24 network. So if we try to ping, we're able to ping each other from here, 168.10.133. We should be able to ping each other. Then if I do ping 192.168.10.145, the pings are going through. So to tag the machines themselves, we need to come into the Proxmox console. We got to put it on 99. So that will give the automate machine VLAN 99 and subnet of 168.99.0 something. So I just need to reconnect this machine on the connectivity, and we can see that this is on 99 subnet. And if I do the same, if I try to ping this, I should not be able to reach the 10.0 subnet. And if I also want to, let's say I want to put this machine, Minty admin, into VLAN 99 too, I simply just need to go and put 99 on the hardware, and that will allow the Minty admin to have basically, all right, of course, because this is being connected via Rust desk, the connectivity dropped there. I just need to do a console, and if I just bring it here, oops, why am I? Okay, there we go. This is a bit jagged. So if I do a reconnect and do IP listing again, I can see that this is on VLAN 99 too. So let's try and ping that address from here. 99.58. There we go. So we're able to ping each other in this instance. And of course, currently, I think it should also be able to reach internet too. Seems like it is not. I think I might have configured the policy engine to block internet access there. Let me pause and try and see that again. I'll be back. Alright folks, so yeah, this is currently in effect right now to block all traffic on VLAN 99 reversing lab. So if I just go and do a pause, proceed, I'm going to go back to the machines. So here, if I ping google.com, I've got internet access. So yes, that is everything I wanted to show you. and this is basically effectively designing a secure home network with a very minimal footprint and energy efficient. So yeah, that's all, folks. Thank you for watching. If this helped you, please like and subscribe for more content like this in the future. And also, of course, check out the blog too. Thank you. Bye.